I hate to say it, but I feel like if you live in America and you're still having kids and getting pregnant, you're just selfish.
There's a saying, don't have kids if you can't afford them. Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. My name is Sessa and this is Sessa's Spill. We're spilling about people who are out here sharing their thoughts concerning having children, especially when you cannot afford them. I think making babies, having children is something that is really, really expensive and it's something that you should really think about before taking that route or going down that route. You guys, let's go listen to what people thought about all of this and I will be back.
These kids are not going to have a future. So I don't know why y'all keep getting pregnant. It's honestly so confusing to me. They're taking away the Department of Education. Having kids is unaffordable if you're not rich. Look at what the hospitals are charging these moms. Is actually ridiculous. Nobody is doing anything about climate change. So who knows what type of world they'll even be living. Like, will they even have oxygen at that point? Like, for real, like, I'm being honest. And what if your kid turns out to be gay or trans? Like, come on. And the only reason the government and like JD Vance and Trump are pushing for people to have kids is not because they want more families. They want a workforce. They can tell that less people are having kids, meaning that'll be a smaller workforce. Like, come on, use your brain. And even college is extremely unaffordable, and they're making it even harder to be able to take out student loans and have things that make it more accessible for people who can't afford college to go. Therefore, your kids are going to be the ones working at McDonald's and all these other jobs like that in grocery stores because they won't be able to get jobs that requires a degree because they won't be able to afford one. But maybe I'm just pessimistic. I don't know. I don't care. I just feel like if you're having kids in this political environment in America, you're setting up your children for failure before they're even born. And that's my piece.
How do y'all keep having kids and y'all don't have no money? Y'all struggling with the one child you have, and then you turn around and have another child. Then you turn around and have another child. Then you turn around and have another child. Whole time you struggling. Condoms are cheap. Children are expensive. Why do y'all do that to yourselves and then y'all complain, I don't have no help, I'm tired, I need a break, I'm tired. You should be tired of fucking.
And in the Black community, stop having children if you are struggling with the one or the two that you have. One more time, stop overpopulating the world when you are already struggling with the one or the two that you have. That is some of the most selfish that you can do. These kids did not ask to be here. You having these kids, oh, I don't want to break my baby. I don't want to get the A word. And you know that you're struggling. You know you don't have a job. You know you don't have a car. You know you don't have an education. You know that nigga not shit. But yet, you want to keep a child because of what my baby needs me. No. Give your child a winning chance. And that does not mean that you don't love your child. And I can't speak because I don't have kids yet. But give your child a fighting chance. You growing up in an area where you can't even walk outside and go for a walk. Give your baby a fighting chance. You think that a baby will keep a nigga. What? I don't know who made up that saying that keeping a baby, will keep a dude. I never got where that came from. Cause baby, these baby daddies be doing them pregnant baby mamas in, okay? Be doing their ass in. And what really hurts me is after they have the baby, that's when reality starts setting in. That's when they get smart. That's when it's like, damn, I really shouldn't have kept this baby. Or I could have did the other option. And it never fails. It's cute. You're pregnant. The baby shower pictures, gender reveal when they're first born. But reality does set in, y'all. You need a village. And even if you don't have a village, having a decent partner, even if y'all aren't even together, but your child's mother or your child's father is a great parent, and pick up the slack when you're down, when you need help, that makes up for a lot. But end up here having kids and you know for a fact the baby daddy not shit, you struggling, your whole family is struggling, you are bringing that child in this world and then expect miracles. That's not right, because now all of that trauma is being dumped on that poor child. And that shit does show, y'all, from ages birth all the way up until they are on their deathbed. All of that trauma that started with you getting pregnant and you knowing that you should not have had that baby because of all the barriers. And that doesn't mean that the barriers can't be removed, but remove the barriers first, then have kids. Because kids, they don't stop your life, but it does make some of the simple tasks a tad bit harder. But give your baby a fighting chance. And that's what I'm starting to notice, especially in the Black community. Yes, I know we always had that. I don't want to be no old mama. I get it. But get established first. Because honestly, it's still women having kids at 30, 35, even 40, even 50. Don't think you have to be in a rush because X, Y, Z is having kids. Get yourself established first. Travel, make mistakes, be a young adult. Because y'all, we don't get these years back. And that's why a lot of these parents who done had their kids at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, they act like the kid when they get 40 years old because they didn't have no childhood, really. They might have had certain bits, but they weren't a kid because they were a kid raising a kid. And us as the Black community, we have to really start taking accountability. Yes, having a kid is the most beautiful thing. But y'all, if I know I'm struggling, and I know my partner I done laid down with is not shit, and I know I'm working 3 jobs just to make ends meet, my parents ain't really helping, give your baby a fighting chance. Because these kids didn't deserve that, because these kids did not ask to be here. And that's on period.
Ladies, if you are thinking about having kids, if you are thinking about having another kid, only consider having a child if you are fully prepared to raise them by yourself. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you're in the best relationship. You guys are soulmates. That person may not be there forever, okay? But more so than just taking care of the child, financially, if you are not able to take care of a child fully by yourself, you do not need to be having one. When a relationship ends, everyone is hurting. And everyone, goes through their mourning phase to death, and you go through that process. And ladies, when you finally start getting yourself together and loving yourself, and you no longer make him a priority, you're not checking his social media, you're not worried about him, the only way he can get to you is through those children. He will do whatever he can to get to you, to disrupt your peace, to slow you down, to stop your glow up. And they do it through money. They know that it is almost impossible to raise a child on one income in this society. They know that you both agreed when you had the baby that it was a team effort. But a lot of men, when things are not going their way, when they are mad at you, when they see you are moving on, when they see that they don't have the ability to ruffle your feathers emotionally, you don't care who they're with, you don't care what they're doing, you don't care why they're doing it. He is a thing of the past. The only thing that he has is the ability to control you through money. He will either give you nothing at all or make promises that you then depend on, and then he won't come through and you are stuck. Most mothers, when you are a good mother, and your child comes to you and says, I want to do gymnastics, I want to be in the band, I want to play football, and all of this stuff costs money. Good mothers don't say we can't afford it. Good mothers don't say no. You know what good mothers say? Give me some time to figure it out. And that's when the sleepless nights come in. That's when you get a second and third job.
We get used to doing it by ourselves. We get used to being the one to be at the doctor's appointments and the teachers' conferences and getting the kids ready for school and figuring out the daycare and the childcare. We get used to that. We rise to the occasion. Where we hurt the most is financially. And if you can get yourself in a position where whether or not he does the right thing, you guys will be okay, I promise you, your life will change for the better. Your stress level will change for the better. You do not have to hold yourself hostage depending on his behavior. So if you are not at a point in your life where you can do that, don't have another kid. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, at least have a skill, at least have something that you can fall back on financially, so that if in the event you are the sole person caring for these kids, you are always able to provide for them. Because I'm telling you, I don't care how good a man is, how great the relationship is, when he cannot get to you emotionally, he will try to get to you financially. And the best way to protect yourself is to be able to provide for you and your children. Is he still responsible for those kids financially and doing his part? Of course. But whether or not he does, you guys will be okay. That's the position that you need to make sure that you are in before you ever have a child. Otherwise, you will be stressed out.
Can we stop having kids that we can't afford? But whoa. Let me explain myself. See, whenever we be talking about this, y'all get super defensive when really there's more to the story. 62% of kids that grow up disliking their parents for how they were raised because they experienced a lack thereof in many different categories. Mentally, physically, financially. So what y'all think about this? Because a lot of parents have children selfishly because they're quick to say that they needed their kids. But when your kids need you, how well do you show up? How well can you show up? Because there's a difference between wanting to show up and having the capacity to show up. And I think that's where a lot of us were failed. And the mature aspect of things is realizing that the perspective is not about the fact that you had a child, but it's about the fact that you kept having children, knowing the situation, the naiveness to keep having kids, knowing that the situation could potentially not change.
I cannot express this enough. Please just stop having children if you can't take care of them. Just please don't. Children are not meant to be accessories. You shouldn't have children if you experience trauma and you haven't got over it from your own childhood and you're thinking that a child is going to fix it. You should not be having children if you are financially stable. If you are not financially stable, don't have no kids. I'm only saying this because I posted a video a few weeks ago about coming together to help the community, to help our Black boys. And to all my parents out there, or people even contemplating being parents, if you don't have a support system, a village already around you, it's going to be extremely hard. People don't want to help. People don't want to pour into each other. People don't want to uplift the community. It's a sad, sad time that we are in when it comes to being a community. And I'm specifically talking about the Black community because that's the only community I care about. Please, y'all, stop having kids that you cannot take care of. It's going to get harder for our children as they continue to grow up, especially over these next 4 years. We're only 100 days in, and you already see the things that are happening. Please don't bring no children into this mess unless you are prepared and you can handle it. Other than that, let's be better and not bring children into this world that we can't take care of.
Can I be honest? The most aggravating argument I've heard in this whole communal school supply debate is the whole don't have kids if you can't afford them. Like, we're talking about school-age children, which means the decision to have them was several years ago. Do you know how much can change in several years? Are we just ignoring that, like, since COVID, there have been massive layoffs every single year and not in just any single industry? Like, when my husband and I decided to have our daughter, we both had jobs. We had a combined 6-figure income. We had over 5 figures in savings. We didn't have a mortgage. We didn't have car payments. And I think only one of our credit cards had any kind of balance on them. By all means, we were in a great position to have a child. Like, even in my job, before we made the decision to get pregnant, I was in talks with my manager at the time to work on getting a promotion, to get on projects that could help me get a promotion. Less than a month after I disclosed my pregnancy at work, I was put on what's called a PIP. Suddenly, I went from somebody who was worth working towards a promotion to somebody who needed weekly check-ins because my performance was suddenly so bad. My manager, before she knew I was pregnant, agreed my performance was good enough that I could go work remotely in a different time zone for over a month. But then after I was pregnant and came back, suddenly my performance was so poor, I had to have supervision on all my projects. And the kicker, I wasn't even let go for performance issues. I was let go because they decided to dissolve my position. Because my client was a mortgage lender and people weren't buying as many houses that year, so that was their excuse. Never mind, this was an agency, so there was a plethora of clients I could have been transferred to. That's how quickly circumstances changed for my family. Now, my husband and I were fortunate enough that we were able to pivot, we were able to make things work, that savings kept us afloat until my husband could figure out more ways to generate more income. But almost overnight, we lost half our income. How many other people are in that same situation because of tech layoffs, because of layoffs in the government? And as someone who's been actively job hunting for 2.5 years, the job market is crap. So to say don't have kids if you can't afford them ignores a whole lot of shit.
Only have as many kids as you can handle. I don't care what that man talking about. As a single woman with 3 kids who was once married, I wish someone told me to only have as many kids as my mental and my finances can handle. You can try to do it the right way and things can take a turn. I'm sure we all know that life sometimes does not go as planned, so we really have to be prepared.
I've personally never been a fan of the I'll have kids when I'm financially stable perspective. Because I have a 2-year-old, so I'm somewhat qualified to have a say in this conversation. But I've never been a fan of it because personally I feel like that sounds like the government has a say-so and control of when you can extend and grow your family. Because what does financially stable even mean? Like, you just want more money? Now, if you're broke, that's totally different. I would never, that's irresponsible to have children when you're broke. But if you're doing okay, it could be better. But if you're doing okay, then wouldn't that mean that you're stable? Because a lot of people say financially stable, and it sounds like you're asking just to get a lot more money than you're making. And I don't really like that because inflation is not going to stop. You know what I mean? Like, all of these things that the government and this economy is doing is not stopping. So if I'm just waiting on that to meet me halfway and I'm making money and inflation goes down, I could be waiting for a while. Well, I've never really liked that. I never really liked the thought of like, oh, when I get this amount of money, I'm ready for kids. I've never liked that. For me, I've always said, if God thinks I'm ready, he'll let me know when I'm ready. It don't matter where I feel like I'm at. If he feels like I'm ready, then let's do it. Now, again, I'm not condoning people to have kids when they're broke. That's irresponsible. But financially stable, I feel like we were doing okay. So God said it was time for us to have a kid. He thought we were ready. So we just did it and we figured it out. So for me personally, it never depended on a dollar amount. Like, I never was, oh, I got to make this amount of money to have kids. You'll never truly be ready. It doesn't matter how much money you make. But I don't ever like the thought of the government and the economy controls when I want to grow my family. I don't know when the last day on earth is for me. So I'm not going to let that stop me from doing the things that God wants me to do. And for me personally, I can't speak for nobody else, but when my son was born, boom, money just started flowing left and right. Money that I wasn't even touching before he was born. So God's timing is God's timing. If it's time for that, it's time for that. And he going to make sure you're going to be all right.
It should be illegal to have kids if you're not financially stable. Like, what? Like, what are you doing? Why do people have kids and they're like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt? Like,
Don't have kids. I'm going to tell you right now, don't have kids. And I'm saying that as someone who don't have kids. It's 1:24 p.m. on a Wednesday. I'm watching Freddie versus Jason. I got my dog between my legs napping. Listen to this. It's quiet. Ain't no back talk. Obviously, if you want kids, this does not apply to you. This really applies to people who are like, do I want kids? Do I don't? If you gotta weigh the options, you don't want kids, and that's fine. Do not have them. No, trust your gut instinct. And the reason why I know I really don't want kids is because I was 50-50. Oh, I could have kids. Oh, maybe I could. You don't want to be 50-50 on bringing another human into this world. I would much rather regret not having kids than bring a human, because it's not just a baby. It is a human being that is going to grow up
and regret having them. And I can tell by some of y'all's mamas or daddies and the way you were raised, they regret having you. And that's so sad. And that's why pro-choice is so important. You should have the option to be able to decide what happens with your life. And then maybe we wouldn't have so much childhood trauma and childhood poverty. So again, if you're wishy-washy, if the way the options, or if a man is asking you for a child, do not have that kid. Do not have that kid. Don't have it.
Yes, it is absolutely 100% abuse to have children you're not financially capable of taking care of. It's not even an argument. You are putting a child's life, a human being's life. That's what you guys seem to forget. You're putting your life over somebody else's because you're only having that child for self-gratification if you know in your mind that you can't take care of them. Why is this such an argument right now? Genuinely. It is not dehumanizing to poor people to literally be like, hey, that's a human being. You're going to have to raise them. They're going to continue to grow. They're going to continue to want to be nourished and fulfilled and have a childhood. Do unforeseen situations happen? Absolutely. We're not talking about that. Stop bringing in other random things to the conversation when the conversation is people knowingly having children, bringing human beings into the world, even though they're not even financially capable of taking care of themselves, let alone a brand new human being. Here's an idea. Wait. It is not the flex that you think it is to be trying to have a child as the youngest, poorest possible being ever. I'm genuinely seeing people convinced that they can't even have children in their 20s anymore. I saw somebody the other day saying, yeah, even by 25, it's so hard to have a child. It's not. It's not. You are neglecting your child financially and likely emotionally if you continue to have children, even already knowing that your current children don't have everything that they absolutely deserve in life. And frankly, if you continue to have children and put your own self-gratification of having a cute new child in your family over the already existing lives that you have created, you are a bad parent. Plain and simple. It's not a flex to have as many babies as possible, to procreate and bring forth your seed to the earth. Like, because at the end of the day, yes, can you have a fulfilling life as a poor person? Absolutely, because the closeness and the connection that we have to human beings and the love that we have inside our hearts is what makes life worth living. However, love isn't going to make sure that they have food on the table that isn't a fucking TV dinner every fucking night while your parent goes into their room and plays on the computer all night. Like, self-gratification leads children to growing up raising themselves and their siblings and trying to find any resources at school to bring home for your fucking siblings so that you can survive because your parents at home won't give you the fucking shit that you deserve. I don't think enough poor kids talk about the experience of growing up poor in an unfulfilling manner. Because yes, you can absolutely live a more lenient or humble life and still have a fulfilling soul and childhood memories to hold on to. I don't have any of those. Zero. Selfish. Just at the end of the day, it's absolutely incredibly selfish to continue to put your own self-gratification of the idea of bringing in this cute little baby over the idea of your current existing children living fulfilling lives.
Kids and money go hand to hand. I don't think it's even enough to say it. Like, people are going to listen that you're putting yourself through so much stress when you know that what you can actually afford currently is to have two kids, and then you're saying, oh, let's just add one more, when you know that you're not financially there yet. And the financial struggle to take care of a child, I mean, it's taking care of a child. Childcare is super expensive, right? It's not even something you can manage unless you want to grow or raise those kids in abject poverty and you give them that manage mentality where they have to struggle for every meal and everything they get, which, I mean, it's not even worth it. If you know you're in that situation, don't even bother bringing a child. Let the child be where the child is while you do your thing. And that is why child-free women and men will keep winning, because they know their strength. They know where they stand. They know what they can do. And they're standing on business. Anyway, you guys, feel free to put your thoughts in the comment section. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye for now.